The end of 2025, right before 2 to 3 days before January the 1st of 26, I thought it'd be a good time to do an annual year-end update for Project List, a log entry, if you will. A few months ago, I had to take down my pigeon aviary. The posts were completely rotten. Several of them had fallen over. I keep repairing it. The netting was drooping. I mean, in some places, maybe down to 8 feet from 16. And when the leaves would fall, the branches would fall, get caught on it. Things were falling apart, so I decided it was time to have to take it down. I couldn't keep repairing it. It's at my age, getting up on those tall ladders on that hill was getting to be just too much. Also, I recently started my goldfish tank that have been in the works for a while. ThoughtWorks for a while. So poured this slab maybe 8 months ago. Just got the block stacked, rebar through the block, epoxied into the slab, all backfilled with concrete. That's all been drying under tarps for the last 3 weeks or so. Now I'm going to line the inside of it with cement board, and then we'll epoxy the inside, the drain and lower right hand corner. And that's as far as I've gotten with that for now. I bought this metal cutting bandsaw, pretty dilapidated, for $100 6 or 8 months ago, and I finally have been not restoring it, just refurbishing it, making it usable, replacing all the bearings. I've completely disassembled that motor. I had to wash it out. It was so full of metal, grime, and dust, and put new bearings in the motor, new capacitor in the motor. Of course, I put a new belt, got a belt guard for it. While replacing all the bearings, the guide bearings, I ended up actually damaging one of the guide rods, broke it, cast a piece, trying to get a bearing out, and so I'm waiting on that to come in. Otherwise, saw's in good shape. It's way better shape than what it was. I don't know. That tray in the front is for coolant flooding, and I may do that at some point. Just not sure that it's needed from the little I do. Oh, added a new cord outlet on the side. Just a few conveniences like that. Got this little Econotig Miller welder on a Goodwill auction, and I've got to take the covers off, make sure it works. I have to plumb 240 over here to it. To be able to do TIG welding, I've got to get some gas bottles, or a gas bottle, and a torch, a few things like that. It looks like it came with enough stuff to do some stick welding. I've never done any of that stuff before. So that's on my to-do list. Here's this broken guide. Still waiting for that to come in. It's been several weeks since that's been out. I recently got this guy on Marketplace because of stirring all that mortar and concrete. My other Milwaukee drill would just get hot, but this is made for doing that sort of thing. So I've completely refurbished this guy. It doesn't look like it, but it was in rough shape. Of course, it's got a new cord on it, new connections internally. I have completely disassembled it, cleaned out all the old grease, repacked everything with all new grease, cleaned all the grime. I mean, it was disgusting in there. It's about a 1978 model drill. I had to repair that D handle down there with some screws and epoxy. I'm going to make a handle for the top of it. Right now, I've got it propped up like this because I'm trying to loosen up this chuck. It's been stuck, and I can't get it off. So looks like somebody before me has been into this and done a couple of things, and they've tried to get that chuck off too because there's no hold down screw in the center of that chuck. And so since I can't get it off, I'm just trying to get it loosened up where everything works on it. This is my trim rider for a project we've got going on now. This thing is maybe 10 years old, but it hasn't been used that much, maybe 50 times, 5-6 times a year. I'm not really sure. But already, I mean, they put a rubber seal bearing on it on the end, and I mean, it just gets too hot. And so I've got bearings ordered for that thing as well. A couple more quick things to interject. I did replace the armature bearings on this old drill right here, and while it runs right now, the brushes are throwing sparks like crazy, so I do have some new brushes ordered, and that brush holder right there just disintegrated when I was putting it in, that plastic piece. So I have new brush holders ordered as well, plus a chuck key and a key holder for that cord. It should be, it'll work like a new drill when I'm done, if it didn't look like it. In addition, I just went through and maintained this Milwaukee hammer drill right here. This one, same thing, that replaced all the grease in it. It was pretty rough shape, put new armature bearings in that and cleaned it up. Lubricated the chuck. That's another one. I can't get the chuck off of it. Dad gave me his old Craftsman sander from probably the late 80s, early 90s, something like that. And it had those stamped steel, metal, rickety base that came with it. And I hated those kind of things. Motor, everything was full of sawdust. So I built a wooden cabinet right here to hide the motor, the sandpaper, things like that. Keep that stuff safe down there. And I don't know, it's just a more aesthetically pleasing base to me. And then finally, this guy, which I've been sitting on for a couple of years now, came from an estate sale somewhere. So this is a high-speed quarter-inch chuck precision drill press. And one of these days, maybe I'll restore that as well. Over here in the electrical department, I've got a couple things stumping me. This Lafayette amplifier is something that I got supposedly working. It was not working well. It had a little bit of output. And I cannot find a schematic for that anywhere. And I've been looking for 6 months, at least, maybe longer. I did rebuild it, replace all the transistors and capacitors, and I did find some damaged parts in there, some transistors where the legs were completely rotten off, but it still hasn't fixed it. And I just kind of moved on to a couple other things, so that's back burnered. My dad's amplifier here, which was supposed to have worked, he just put it in storage a few years ago and take it out of storage. We plugged it in, no output, took it apart, cleaned the output relay contacts on it and put it back together, and now I can't get it to power up. So I've been working on that thing, bought a service manual, going through the schematic. I actually can't find anything wrong. All the voltages are where they're supposed to be, except it's not powering up. So that one's got me a little bit stumped. It's just back burner, just something I tinker with from time to time. I got this Laserdisc player on eBay as broken, and I've gone through this entire thing. This is a electrical mechanical marvel. There's so many moving parts in here. There's several motors in it, tons of gears. It reads both sides of the disc. So there's actually a disc track right here, which goes up top so that the optical eye can actually read both sides of the disc, bottom and top. It'll do laser discs, it'll do CDs, whatever, but nothing worked on when I got it. In fact, somebody had tried to pry this front off and broken the circuit board across the back of the front. So I've repaired the circuit board on that, and I've cleaned, I don't know, I want to say 6 or 8 limit switches in here, micro switches, taken them apart, cleaned them, put them back together. I've disassembled this entire thing, gotten all the old dried up grease off of it, re-lubricated everything. Everything works smoothly now. Finally, the door opens and closes like it should, but it's not spinning up a disc. So it's just something I'm tinkering with a little bit from time to time when I feel like it. But anyway, I do have the schematics and service manual for that in the house, so I can kind of go through when I feel inspired to do so. I built this rack this year too, so I've got these little drawers were some Harbor Freight, some cheap Harbor Freight. They come in a plastic thing, and I bought 4 of these plastic hardware sorter things and just kept the drawers out of it, and then built these plywood racks so I can put all the drawers in one place. That's helped a ton. I love having that thing. Over here, I'll tell you, so I've done the same thing. I'm working on this one for machine screws. So I made another one, and I'll make better labels other than the tape once I have things more permanently set in there. But these are just mainly machine screws, I guess, a few odds and ends. I so much prefer drawers over these kind of little organizers that you slide in and out. You have to drag about 4 of these out, put them on the bench, open and close each one, decide what you want. I just want labeled drawers for everything. So eventually I'll have more of those kind of drawers. This material on the floor and these door skin panels are because I'm making some hollow core interior doors for the house. I have a ranch style house that came with slab style Luan doors, and you almost can't find those anymore. And when I do find them, they're like $130, $140 as opposed to what I remember being $35 or $40. So this is my first one. Oh yeah, so I'm building them a lot more sturdy than they originally would have been. A lot more supports in there. Of course, this is all glued up. I have a few more parts over here for the next one. So this is where this piece here will be where the doorknob goes through the last. And I'm using yellow pine for the perimeter. And then for inside it, I'm using some just aspen from 2x6s and stuff like that. Because I bought these 2x6s, ran them through and brought them home, I don't know, a week and a half ago. And I dug through Lowe's or Home Depot, I don't remember which, Dug through, probably spent 45 minutes picking the straightest ones out. I got them home, had them in my wood building, brought them out yesterday or the day before, and they're all twisted. So, I mean, I ran them through the planer anyways, but they're completely twisted. So I have to cut them into really small pieces. That works for the inside support structure, but obviously I can't use that for anything long. So I've got a couple more of those doors to build. I can't wait to get started on these radios. So this one, a friend down in New Iberia gave me this thing. This is actually a mahogany veneer, and I've already stripped down the top. It's got to be re-glued, new substrate and everything like that. But there's a radio, Zenith radio on this side. This cabinet over here has got a record player that comes out. Big speaker in the bottom. That cabinet opens for records. Anyway, I want to restore that to originality and probably use that as something to put some of my more modern vintage stereo equipment on top of as a cabinet to put it on there. But it needs to be in working condition and look beautiful. And once I'm done with it, it'll look good. And this is a Victrola talking machine that I also bought. So this guy here, you open it up, it let's see here, come on, plays those shellac records and things like that. So this is in terrible condition, even worse than that last piece I showed you. It's walnut veneer, but you could hardly tell. And I've already spent 30 minutes or so cleaning all these things, by the way. Both of them. They don't look like it, but I have. And so anyway, that's on the back burner as well. Can't wait to I'm very excited to get to it. I just have some other things going. And then I've got these really nice Sansui speakers that I also picked up at a Goodwill auction. I've already bought the capacitors to rebuild the crossovers in them, and they need to be refinished. I think there's some repairs that need to be done on the front grills, wooden repairs, refinish that walnut veneer on it and rebuild those. And those speakers are in good shape. It's on the list. And I guess I'm remiss if I don't mention my big drill press here too. So that's sort of been on the back burner too. I got to a point where I was going to have to fabricate something for that motor so that it would be adjustable. I could mount it and be adjustable to tension a belt. I needed belt material and I needed a VFD for it and some adapters for the pulley. So I bought the belt material right there finally. It's still going to be a pain. I mean, I've got to have to figure out, because the center one, there's no adjustability for that long belt right there. So you have to put a new belt on there, stitch it, and in exactly the right tension, exactly the right tension. I'm not exactly sure I'm going to do that. I've got some ideas, but with everything else going on, that's just sort of been a back burner thing. I also finally bought adapters to take that motor shaft from, I think it's 5/8 up to, for that pulley over there, I think that's 7/8. I can't remember exactly. But, so I just got to, put that together. I've got a welder now that I have to go through so that I can make the base for the motor, then make the belts, then I'll buy the VFD and get this thing running. It's way past time to make this guy usable. I bought this paint shaker at the same time I bought that, from the same guy that I bought that bandsaw from. And this is one of the first things that I refurbished, and I love it. I mean, it vibrates all over the place. So I'm working on figuring out how to make a spring base that I can put it on. I built a little controller, that red controller sitting on top of it, so that instead of just flipping a switch on and off, I can set a timer. It's got an e-stop on it, but I'll be able to set a timer, just push a button once I put the paint can in. But I've already used that, I don't know, 8 or 10 times for quarts and gallon paints. It's so nice to have that. Finally, here's some other electronic gear. I ended up buying used, broken stuff that I thought was fairly cheap because I thought it'd be pretty fun to have, fun to go through. That's way down the list now. I had to, just to get the service manual for that Laserdisc player, it came in on microfiche. So I had to buy some microfiche players and restore a microfiche player. So I've got that little FM modulator output machine, so I can hopefully do some alignments and things like that on more of this gear. I've got over here a couple things under here. There's a scope, a little amp probe, a couple things that are, just old equipment that I think is pretty neat. I don't really have much money or anything like that, but I think it'd be just fun to restore and have just on the bench. Now I've been sitting on this bandsaw so long now, it's probably been a year that I even forgot to mention this earlier. So this is another bandsaw that I bought because, I mean, coolness factor, and I thought that would be a great to turn into a metal cutting bandsaw. It's got 2-stage pulleys on the motor and on the saw itself, so you can speed it up for wood cutting or slow it down for metal cutting. I'm going to just probably leave it on the slow speed for doing some metal cutting on there. And it's not in terrible condition. I mean, it needs to be completely gone through, cleaned up, and probably new bearings in the motor, things like that. There's no guard for the blade. This bottom blade guard that you see here, that cast iron, says Winter on it. There used to be a top one, or when it was new, it would have been a top one on there, but that's long gone. Somebody broke off the stem that even holds it. I'm not sure what I'm going to do about that. I mean, worst case is I'll leave it, but I don't know. That's on my to-do. Another project for this year is the canopy for my tank. Everything's been looking pretty good in there. I still got a lot more to do on that canopy. Just been bouncing around between projects. This year I've been able to get 13 young Altum angelfish, which could get pretty big in this tank. So big that I won't be able to keep all of them together. I've only had them maybe 2 months, 3 months, something along those lines. So I'm anxious to see what they look like. This year I built this bookcase, hopefully the first of several, so that I can finally get all my books out of bins and up where they can be seen. I built a few displays. That's got a couple of hidden drawers in the bottom for nail polish. Curio cabinet here. A shelf here for Courtney to display her stuff in. The drawers have magnets to be able to get to them, to open them up. Magnets to hold them in. This drawer right here, just for odds and ends, in the bottom of this curio cabinet there. This year I got heavily into vintage hi-fi, so I got the reel-to-reel and have opened it up, gone through it, completely serviced it. I use that now from time to time. I bought a couple of open reels down here, including that Star Wars. This was my little brother's system from 1989, which I fixed a couple of things on it. I still needed to service the CD player and the cassette deck on it. And then this is the little jukebox system that I built. Try to get here where it don't have a terrible glare on it. And my plan for this is to get an aluminum faceplate. Basically, I was originally going to build it into an antique airline radio from the 30s, but now I've kind of decided I'm going to build it into a cabinet that looks similar to one of these, or better yet, similar to one of these vintage cabinets like that with a silver face front, and a couple over here, that kind of thing, and build that player into that so that it looks like a vintage hi-fi player thing, even though technically it's not. It's just it's brand new. I was trying to get to the cool page on. Anyway, yeah, so collecting records. There's some vintage speakers that were my dad's. I think he bought these, he said, in 72 at the PX, an Army base in Texas, where I was born. And that's it. That's the end of 2025. I'm sure there's some other stuff that I probably could have put on here that I just didn't think about. I've done a whole lot of small things this year, but it's been a rough year. Health-wise has not been that great. Haven't been feeling that good. Taking antibiotics and things like that have just got me drained, and not really wanting to put in as much effort that as I would have in earlier years. Anyway, I'll talk to myself later.